Hi everybody, welcome back to the cinema. My name is Blake. Today we are back on The Flash again, episode 2 of season 1. Oh man, we got a lot of episodes ahead, don't we? Maybe I regret starting this. This was supposed to be my show that I just talk about in the downtime. Okay, not the highest viewing thing to blow up on my channel. Like, this is the most important thing. This show came out 7 years ago. Obviously, that's not a lot, but for me and my wee channel of only 43 subscribers, that is a lot. That's more people than I've subscribed. So I guess some of you guys really care to see my thoughts on this show. Well, let's keep going. Now, you will never guess how quickly they remind you that the particle accelerator exploded. They put it in here like you would just skip episode 1 and you're starting with episode 2. It happened in the last episode, okay? We get it. The particle accelerator exploded, and they let you know 17 seconds into the episode, only 17 seconds before they show you the particle accelerator exploding again. Another one. My God. Thank God that is the only time they remind you in this episode. I mean, look, they probably remind you more, but I'm only going to count it if I see that exact same shot. So this episode starts with the Flash trying to, do the whole superhero thing when he shouldn't be doing it, and saving people from burning buildings. Cisco, my guy, he's being the coolest sidekick and man in the chair ever. Then they're busted by Caitlin, and Barry has to run off to his actual job. Now, he gets to his job wearing his Flash costume and realizes he hasn't brought his normal clothes. Then quickly notices the store, whips in really quickly and really fast out, so quick the tags are all on his, clothes and stuff when he shows up at the crime scene. Did Barry rob a store? I mean, seriously, he moved super quick. I think he just committed a crime himself. It's not clear. It's not made clear. They didn't have a shot of him just throwing the cash on the counter. He stole that shit. So then we get more of Mr. CSI guy back at it again, creating diagrams out of nothingness. After that, he goes back to the lab, mixing chemicals and stuff, and he does what all of us would do if we had Flash powers. Not try to save the entire planet at first, but just make our jobs easier. Wouldn't it be great if you could just whip through 8 hours of work in 30 seconds and impress everybody? So he takes his little vial of serum that he's trying to, put in those spinning machine thingies, I have no idea what they're called. I'm not going to pretend I know and Google it right now. And he just shakes it with his hand because the machine's broken. He just does what we would all do, just make it easier. Then Thorne and Iris visit, and they're just straight up kissing in front of Barry. We got some hard-hitting CW type of drama right there. It was just so blatant and on the nose, I almost laughed. Barry's still getting used to his powers. He's all of a sudden fainting and stuff, so they take him back to the lab to try and do some tests on him. And it's because his metabolism is burning up everything he's eating way too quickly. He has to eat 1 billion things at once, which makes sense. And they get him on this super treadmill. And I like the super treadmill, it's cool. So they get him on the super treadmill, and obviously he flies off and smashes all the boxes behind him. And it's good fun. The show is still funny at this point. We then get the hard-hitting scenes again. We get Barry busting Joe's balls this time when he comes to visit and says, you can't just dress up and play hero, you could literally die. Man, can you imagine, can you remember the time when it was you could die and there was serious implications and stakes, and not, hey, we're teaming up 20 of us and we're gonna fight an alien race or Nazis from a different dimension. Man, this show gets so convoluted and out there. It's not just the Flash, all of them, they all cross over another day. So villain-wise, we get some tiny development, I suppose. He's really just another C-list villain. Danton Black, I'm pretty sure that's how forgettable it is, because really this episode is about just developing the Flash still, because we barely know Caitlin, Cisco, Dr. Wells, Joe, all these relationships that Barry has, and just building upon that. But man, these C or D-list villains, they just keep coming and coming. But for now, it's still fresh, it's still new. I've had such a big break from the show that it's so refreshing coming back now and just seeing some of the better stuff. I remember almost all of season 1 very fondly and being very solid, especially for a show that's supposed to contain a superhero. And I know the whole show starts to follow this formula of C-list or D-list villain, after villain after villain. But sometimes I don't mind it, hey. I really don't mind the whole episodic thing, as long as it's got that foundation of character development, that things are happening and it's not just padding and then retracting everything it's just done to just fill time. That's when it's not okay. But while it's developing our characters that we don't know at this point yet in the show, it's fine. So Danton Black, our duplicate man, or multiplex or some shit that Cisco calls him something at the end, I can't remember. We hear he's shooting up a company called Stag Industries. As soon as Barry hears, he goes to suit up, and when he opens that locker, I got goosebumps. If this show can give me goosebumps, it's good. It's doing a great job. There's a flashback later on this episode where he goes to meet his dad in prison, like as a kid, and just before he goes to hug his dad, like the security guard's like, whoa, no contact kind of thing. And they have this, like, I don't know, 3-4 minute conversation. At the very end of the conversation, they're hugging one another. Am I the only one that noticed that? I really love the details in this show. Not that I'm going to contradict what I just said then, but like whenever he's not running with his suit, his clothes are almost catching fire, or that there's like smoke coming off the soles of his shoes. You know, I like all that little stuff. Later on, Barry visits Iris at Jitters and he goes there to eat, and Iris comes along and goes, wow, you must have been hungry. There were 12 empty plates there. He just smashed heaps. No one eats that much. Like, obviously it's a wink and a nod to the audience because of the metabolism thing, but in the context of the story, Iris, the fact that she can't tell that something is up is insane. Well, she can, but she can't pick that he's the Flash. And she should deduce that at some point. I don't know. Later on, Barry tries to take on the Danton Black villain again, and he gets shot at, and Barry does like his own Matrix move, like it's playing behind me. And it made me think for a second, Joe West, like the same episode just before, was like, hey, you may be fast, but you're not bulletproof. Well, if he's faster than bullets, does it really matter? So, the climax of the episode had me giggling a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, when like Danton Black's cloned himself 1,000 times over, and Barry grabs him and like runs him across a balcony and smashes him into a pole, just knocking him out. It had me in hysterics a little bit. Then the CW tries to hit us with some heavy-hitting scenes. It has Joe and Barry talking about their father-son relationship kind of thing, and Barry going, well, you raised me, so you technically like are my father. And we haven't seen enough of that. We're only 2 episodes in, and the emotional punches that they're trying to get in just aren't coming through, because we don't know that relationship just yet. There's still a lot more to develop. So in that part, the CW's failed, and the episode seems to end. Thankfully, we don't get any Run Barry runs. That counter still remains at 1. It ain't gonna touch the particle accelerator one, I can tell you, but there will be many more of them yet. And then we get a little teaser, and I think we got one last episode as well. I would have seen it, but I didn't mention it. That Harrison Wells is secretly not a super cool guy. And this scene seems a little bit weird in retrospect, knowing who he is and what's going on. Because instead of doing like his thing where he kills people, he just like, he rolls into the office of Simon Stagg, gets out of his wheelchair, and he just stabs him. He just fucking goes for it. And I was like, what? He was going to do his thing, but I guess it reveals and spoils stuff early. But really, no one was there. There's no reason why he could have done that. Unless in the next episode, it creates a proper mystery around it. It's not, how did this guy die? This makes no sense. It was just a murder with a knife, which obviously wouldn't be who we think it is. So, you know what? I will wait on that until the next episode. But that is pretty much everything. It's not as good as the first episode, but it's still solid as hell. It's still season 1, so it's still good. And I feel like a lot of these videos are going to be very similar because it's sometimes just following that same formula, but different directors do each episodes, and some episodes are bigger than others, and I feel like the amount of time and effort that's put into the show deserves the time to be spent on each episode talking about it, because I have the time and I will talk about absolutely everything. So if you've made it all the way through to the end of the video, you're a bloody legend. Consider subscribing, because 95% of you aren't. What are you doing with your life? This is where you need to be. And I will see you guys next time when it's either the Flash again or something else. Might be the Flash again, because I had plans, except COVID, and it kind of ruined plans. So now I'm here, and this is why we're doing The Flash. So I'll see you guys next time. Cheers, guys.